What is AIO? What does this mean? How do you use this internally in your own team to save incredible amounts of time and money? Because we can do that now with AI tools like Content at Scale. Let's talk all about this term and what it means. AIO is a brand new term that we are using to describe what it means to take AI and add a human to get great content. So what does that actually mean? The baseline of your content generation is now AI, where it used to be a human writer, a human content writer that you had to headhunt, find, hire, train them on how to write for SEO, train them on the use of subheaders, H2s, H3s. All of that is made obsolete with our tool, Content at Scale, because it does it for you in less than 10 minutes. You now have a beautiful 2,500 word blog at the click of a button. So this really makes the human content writer obsolete as the foundation and that first blank draft. You no longer have to sit there and do the hours of research. You can use Content at Scale and the first draft is good. It's usable content. Our tool is one of the only ones on the market that has its own internal crawler that looks at the top results of Google on the spot whenever you're creating the post out of a single keyword and a single prompt, which are the only two things you need to generate a, 2,500 word post. We are living in revolutionary times. So with this shift, what we want to introduce is the AIO model. This can become an AIO content writer, an AIO strategist, and many other roles, even AIO editor. So the principle of thinking here is that you take that baseline of human content writing, right? The grunt work, the labor, and you replace it with a tool like Content at Scale. This tool now generates what was formerly done by a human. And then when you go to publish it, you need an AIO writer. You need somebody that's trained on how to use that tool, how to write a good prompt for it, how to generate a good post, and then how to go through it and follow what we call the AIO Framework. So let me talk about that next. How do you actually take AI content and make it better? Well, I've developed a very simple 5-step framework that I've been playing with, and right now these 5 steps really fit the natural progression of what a human content writer would do if they had content they were looking at and they were asking themselves, how can I make this better? Because one critical step in the SEO content creation process is to self-edit your work. But now you're not self-editing your work, you're editing the AI's work. So a content writer can easily shift into becoming an AIO writer following this framework. First, you want to learn how to use the tool, right? That's the foundation. Use AI to now generate that content. You no longer have to sit there, work with a blank draft, drain your brain till it's dead, do all the SEO research. You don't have to do that. It's done for you. In our Done For You services at Content at Scale, we work with hundreds of different use cases where we are putting the AIO model into actual practice. We've been doing this since December of 2021, which is crazy. So the company itself has been a practitioner of the AIO model in thousands of pieces of content already, and it's working. This content, written by AI, optimized by a human, you need both for success, is ranking at the top of Google, getting conversions, getting subscribers. It's working. And that's honestly why I'm here right now, right? If we didn't have something that was working, all of this is just marketing. And marketing without a good product is frankly garbage. So I'm here able to share this with you and invent a whole new model and invent a new term like AIO because we have something revolutionary. We have something placed in the hands of teams and agencies and companies and publishers that will completely change the game. Think about it. All the time you've had to spend to headhunt, find, hire, train that writer. I've talked to executives where the writers don't show up, right? That's a common problem. There's no sick days for the AI tool. This is going to change the game completely. So going back to the AIO model and the framework here, what the heck is this? So if we think about AI now as the baseline, right? We're taking that human content writer, they're gone. AI is now the baseline. It's generating our content. What do we do from there? Well, that's what really makes or breaks the content. And you still need a human, right? This is not a zero human process. So the human you need is that AIO human, somebody that's trained to optimize the AI content. So if we think of the tool as a baseline, what do we do from there? Well, here's a very simple 5-step framework you can follow, process, and steps that you can give to your writer. Tell them to become an AIO writer following this model. So when that content is generated from the tool, then what do? 5 things. First, you should cut the fluff. So once I have a blog generated and I go in here and I edit it, you're going to see words that appear that you need to trim down, and that is what it means to cut the fluff. You also want to break the content up into paragraphs. And what's amazing is if you scroll down here to the right of the optimization section, you'll actually see your on-page checklist. So there's a red X, right? By paragraphs are 3 sentences or less. Outbound links don't exist. All right, so we need to work on these things, and we actually have the suggestions right here, which again, this eliminates the need to train a writer. That's why you need to switch to the AIO model, because you no longer need to headhunt, find, hire, and train a human SEO writer when they have the map to success right here on the right-hand side. So that's pretty incredible if you think about what you need to give a writer, right? You often need to give them an outline. You often need to train them on all of these things. But when you're cutting the fluff, you want to think about words that don't need to be here and how to break up sentences so it reads well. So for example, that's an unnecessary sentence. I would delete it. If we need to add a comma, we want to do so as well. Something I notice is how well written these sentences are. The customer value journey is a key concept in modern marketing, but it can be difficult to wrap your head around. That's a very good opener. It's well written. It has that sequential flow. So I'm happy with this, replacing my blank draft, because it's good, right? And that's why we can train writers easily to become AIO writers. But you want to cut the fluff, go through this, separate the paragraphs, cut them down, and make sure that you remove unnecessary words. So that's step 1. Step 2 in this process is to fact check. You really want to go through the piece and make sure the facts are correct. For example, if you were to use this tool to create a piece on an entirely new acronym and term, like for example, AIO writer, you're probably going to have to do a lot of factual rewriting because not a lot of anything exists, right? We've almost invented this acronym and this model. We were the ones that came up with it. So it's not going to exist much on the internet. So keep that in mind. The fact-checking piece can get more difficult depending on how original and how unique and how new the facts are that you're working with. So do a deep dive on your facts. Make sure you go through that article and read the facts, and you want to also source them to the links. If you have links to studies, resources, surveys, for example. The next piece of this framework, one that I like a lot, is adding personal story. You could also say adding personal style. Why does a subscriber keep coming back to read someone's blog? It's because they've gotten to know, like, and trust that person. How would they know who that person is if that person suddenly changed their tone, their voice, their style, and they stopped telling their story? So put more anecdotes in your blogs. Tell your story more often. Make the founder's story a blog that comes out. Get pieces of it. Put it into other blogs. The story is really what will set your content apart, especially as AIO content really becomes the new norm. And we see tons of content emerge on everyone's site. Step 4, go through it and add your links. This could be a link to booking a demo or a product store. Depending on what you sell and what you do, you want to link to the appropriate place the customer should land on. So make sure that's in the end of the blog for sure, and then no more than 2 to 3 times naturally throughout the rest of the content. And then you want to check your citations. Are you linking to other pieces of content on your site? What are those pieces? Bring those links in. Are you linking to outside authority sources? Bring that in as well. And then finally, lastly, pictures add 1,000 words, right? Says the old adage. So we have to do that. We have to add images. This could be screenshots of data that you're finding, original graphs made by your designer if you're the one doing the data and the research on some of these pieces. Maybe a model that you came up with to help your audience and your customers and the industry maybe understand a concept better. So enrich your article, your blog with really good visuals. Make that a key step in the AIO process. So those are the 5 steps to take AI content and optimize it for the human. That's what you want to do. And I think going forward, the shift that we're going to see from SEO to AIO whenever we're talking about a career, right? Because the SEO content writer will soon be obsolete when there is mass adoption of a tool that finally works. It's finally dependable and reliable, and you can generate a large percentage of general SEO content at scale now, having to headhunt, find, train, hire, all the things that it typically takes till you get to a mediocre content writer. So if you're an SEO content writer, you can adapt today, right now. Don't let fear stop you. Remember, we've talked about this in other videos. Fear is your enemy. Do not let it stop you from doing a good thing, which is adapting to this new world, embracing this technology, and asking yourself, how can I 5 to 10x my time and get even more profit in my business? Get more efficient, make my clients happier, focus on the right things instead of the grunt work, right, of content itself? How can I do more strategic, higher level things? How can I offer my services in a more unique way to my clients? You know, we're seeing agencies even start to adapt the use of content at scale as the core, right? We're talking AIO here. So AI is your baseline and you're optimizing from there. So if AI is the new core, the hours and the cost savings is extraordinary. We're talking thousands of hours and thousands of dollars that we can now reclaim in our own teams, in our own companies. I don't know about you, that's mind-blowing to consider, especially as somebody that has hired and trained writers in my past. So the world is changing and we can be a part of it, but only if we don't let fear stop us and we learn how to adapt. Remember, new is not technically impossible. It just feels hard because it's new. So don't let that, this is difficult, this is hard, stop you from adapting and trying out the AIO way, because we think it'll be something big. And we're here to help you navigate it in the best way possible. That's a wrap for this video. I hope it helped you. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content just like this, and comment down below. Tell us what you want to see. What questions do you have about AIO? How will this affect your job, your career? Please share with us your questions and we'll be back here to answer them.